Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I'm very pleased here to be representing the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority. And I would like to extend my gratitude and thanks to the host, Hack in the Box and CyberWeek, for organizing such an important and timely conference. Over the recent years, cybersecurity has gained an increasing attention since governments, corporates, being financial, medical, and virtually all kinds of institutions, collect, process, and store unprecedented amount of data on their systems and infrastructure. A significant portion of that data is classified as sensitive information, whether that be intellectual property, financial data, personal information, or other types of data, which if unlawfully accessed or exposed could have a significant negative consequences and impact. Nowadays, cyber attacks are at the forefront attention of digital governments and governments going through digital transformation. As the volume of sophistication of cyber attacks grow, organizations, being government or private, especially those that are tasked with safeguarding the information related to national security, health, or financial records, are expected to be leading in taking measures to safeguard their digital assets and information, leaving them with enormous responsibilities to keep up with expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, at the very early stages, the Abu Dhabi government realized the significance of attention to cybersecurity and the protection of the networks, devices, platforms, and data itself from cyber threats and cyber attacks. To materialize that understanding, the government has embraced a cybersecurity strategy that is based on a well-known reality that while cyberspace provides a vast horizons and endless opportunities for all of us and for the well-being of and happiness and sustainable development of nations, it also opens gateways for threats and vulnerabilities to targets, the infrastructures and networks. It was understood that the battle between the two sides is a battle of knowledge and technology, a battle of intelligence, perseverance, and patience. Yet, in an essence, it is a manifestation of the eternal conflict between good and evil. Bearing this in mind, we also realize that people is the weakest link in the fight against these cyber threats and cyber attacks. Research shows that the government entities are at a disadvantage in cyber preparedness. They have multifaceted challenges in developing a human capacity necessary for the knowledge transformation. So raising the cybersecurity capability within their structure proved to be critical. With the emerging use of AI, blockchain, and any other emerging technologies that the security challenges and the security challenges they bring forward, the information security field is expected to see a worldwide deficit of approximately 1.5 million professionals by 2021. This deficit will only get worse unless firm and decisive action is taken. We at Abu Dhabi's Digital Authority are committed to help drive the initiatives and action plans to address the shortage of cybersecurity professionals in the coming years in Abu Dhabi. With the right partnership with relevant academic institutions in Abu Dhabi, the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority will develop a cybersecurity curriculum modules targeting the youngsters at the early stages of schools. The curriculum development program will progress in 2021 to include higher educations and a specialized certification program. The Abu Dhabi government will build close collaboration with education institutions and industry partners to ensure that the right training programs and cybersecurity career options are available for talented individuals. Targeted campaigns within various government entities will help raise the awareness and profile of cybersecurity as an attractive specialization. Moreover, the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority is developing a cybersecurity workforce framework, adopting the NIST national framework to build more than 30 cybersecurity job profiles with specific tasks, skills, and qualifications for each role. The aim of the framework would be to guide the employment, development, and retention of cybersecurity workforce within the Abu Dhabi government, support the Abu Dhabi government entities as they address the current market demands, and establish a shared terminology among the government entities for the recruitment, retention, and training of cybersecurity workforce. The Abu Dhabi Digital Authority seeks to develop a relevant knowledge, skills, and abilities to nurture the cybersecurity professionals and support them to thrive through the industry. When it comes to cybersecurity professionals, unfortunately, there's a huge gap between the supply and the demand. And this is a global problem. So we need to all work together to find and bridge the gap, find the solution and bridge the gap. In addition to the professionals program, we have developed an Abu Dhabi-wide cybersecurity awareness program, which focuses on raising the cyber hygiene and cyber awareness and preparedness among the Abu Dhabi government employees to help them effectively handle potential threats and attacks. This will be achieved through various initiatives and collaboration with local and federal entities. One of the initiatives that is currently in the pipeline is the Cybersecurity Awareness Platform Development, which is a centralized awareness platform that will be deployed across local government entities and will be used to deliver different awareness materials. As a leading organization in Abu Dhabi, being responsible for the cybersecurity posture of the government, the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority built the Cyber Resilience Framework. The framework or the initiative as has been initiated, the main objective is to achieve the highly cyber resilient Abu Dhabi government with a decisive response and prompt recovery capability. The aim is to enhance the Abu Dhabi government ability to identify and resist potentially disruptive cyber threats. This would demonstrate that the government has the right competencies and tools to defend against cyber attacks, which in turn would enhance public trust. At Abu Dhabi's Digital Authority, we seek to ensure a robust environment for Abu Dhabi government when faced with cyber threats. Abu Dhabi leadership understands that in today's cyber threats, traditional security measures focusing on prevention may not be adequate. Given the twin challenges of the constantly evolving threat landscape and the need to ensure the availability of critical services and infrastructure, a paradigm shift in security posture is required. A shift from a preventive approach to a more pragmatic cyber resilient approach. Achieving the initiative aligned with cyber resilience pillar will require a well-defined cyber response framework, which we're developing now, and would team up with the required skill sets. Cyber resilience requires the implementation of a secure by design principles in all digital transformation initiatives, or what we call secure by culture. So we want to ensure that there is a security culture embedded within the government entities. Developing integrated monitoring and threat hunting capabilities enables an efficient, effective, and targeted response capability. The end state of the initiative seeks to accelerate the Abu Dhabi government's digital transformation while ensuring secure and continuous services, enriching each citizen's experience, and ultimately scoring highest on happiness meter. The end state will also help to achieve the key focus area of resilient infrastructure in line with Abu Dhabi Economic Vision 2030. We strongly believe in sharing experience and learning from each other. That's why at the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority, we actively engage with local governments and around the globe to share pain points and success stories. Our most recent engagement with the Estonian government, where we visited and shared valuable experience and practices in comparing threats, building strategies, and focusing on cybersecurity capabilities building. Building on sharing principles, we strongly believe that sharing what we call the non-general information, or as very well known, cyber threat intelligence, is at the core of any cybersecurity strategy. This is why we at ADDA, Abu Dhabi Digital Authority, have invested in developing our threat intelligence sharing framework, and before the end of 2020, we will launch our threat intelligence sharing platform that would serve both the government and at one stage the private sector in Abu Dhabi and eventually the UAE. Ladies and gentlemen, while society has embraced digitization, the associated risks may not be well understood yet. For the digital transformation initiatives to be successful, it is imperative that understanding of various online threats within the government entities is improved. As we all work to advance our cybersecurity agenda and realize our country's full potential, let us always keep the security and the safety of our national assets and infrastructure at the forefront of all our efforts. I hope that you enjoyed the successful first day yesterday, and I wish you a wonderful days ahead. Please spare some time to enjoy the beautiful city of Abu Dhabi as well. Thank you very much.
right? Well, hackers have been targeting the firmware as a place to embed the malware and hide other malicious code that can ultimately compromise the system. Sending a malicious firmware upgrade to IoT device may compromise the system. Basically, the attacker writes the code on top of the legitimate firmware and pushes it to the device. This can sometimes remain as a backdoor as well. But before we dive into the firmware analysis, let's first talk about what can be done with the firmware, and we'll look into where to get the firmware. Basically, with the firmware, you can try out reverse engineering, binary analysis, and modification of the firmware. So if the device fails to perform the integrity check, you can modify the firmware and then update the device. It's still gonna work. One of the reasons to look for in the firmware, 4 out of 10 reasons, the sensitive information, default login credentials are stuffed inside the firmware. Upon reverse engineering them, you can get hold of it. Now, the next question for you is where to get the firmware. You can get the firmware from the device, from dumping the device itself, the one which I told earlier, the Gheyath and Gheyath and SPS. You can use the vendor's website to find out the firmwares. You can use Google Docs to find out the index FTP sites, and then you can download all those firmwares. You can look for the, so many times, one of the fitness tracker that I was working to reverse engineer, it had the firmware inside the mobile application. So you can try reverse engineering the mobile application, and you can have the firmware there itself. And then you can capture, so if none of these is possible, you can capture the firmware during the DFU, device firmware update, using the tools like Wireshark. That's how you're gonna, and you might lead to the link for the API, link for the firmware. Once you have the firmware, you can now start doing the analysis for the firmware. There are 2 ways to do that. One is manual, and other that uses a tool. Many times manual analysis consumes a lot of time, and that is when automated scanner like form worker comes handy. You can look for the config files. This config file may contain sensitive information, hard-coded username and password, links to the internal consoles, and so much. Once the files are extracted, you can run FormWalker on top of it. FormWalker is a go-to tool for this firmware analysis. FormWalker will automatically scan all the files present in the firmware and look for the command box. Now, what are the things that you should be looking in the firmware? If the device implements encryption in any way, you can even look for the private keys inside the firmware. And then you can analyze the source code and find out a lot of information about the, like suppose if it has a buffer overflow and all this stuff. You can use commands like file. You can use the commands like file in the image name to get a very high level information about the binaries. There's a command in the Linux called file. It can give you the information, high level information about what exactly the binary is about. You can get other information about the architecture, operating system, so on and so forth. My other favorite tool is the binwalk. This is a really handy tool for extracting binaries out of a firmware image. So essentially, what this does is unpacking the firmware. This also gives information about the file systems being used. One of the very popular file system that is being used is SquashFS. So once you know the file system, then you can download SquashFS utility and start poking around. The idea here is once you extract the information, once you extract the firmware, you need to look at it as a directory tree, look for any of the file servers, web servers, or any of the components that could possibly have bugs. My other go-to tool for the firmware analysis is a firmware analysis toolkit by 85. This is an open source tool. This is developed in order to help security researchers analyze and identify bugs in an IoT device. I highly recommend using this tool called firmware analysis toolkit by 85. Also, you can even look for the various API keys that is being stuffed inside the firmware. You can use tools like Grep to find out the patterns for the keys in the firmware. And you can even look for if the device has any third-party SDKs and libraries. Many times the vulnerabilities may lie in the third-party libraries and SDKs as well. You can look for them as well. So these are the few questions that you might have. Like suppose, can I emulate the firmware? So you don't have the device, but you have the firmware. So can I emulate that? Yes, you can always use the tools like QEMU and CS-root to emulate the firmware. So even if you don't have the device with you, you can pretty much emulate everything like a firmware. You can do stuff like network analysis and almost everything like a real device. Just go for it. You can even look for the next question that you might have is, can I modify the firmware? So yes, you can use the tools like FormModKit, FMK, and then once you modify the firmware, check whether if the device has a firmware integrity check or not. So if it doesn't have a firmware integrity check, it accepts the firmware. So now the next thing is identifying the vulnerabilities in the IoT consoles and the mobile app. So this is pretty common. If you come from a software background, finding bugs in the web console and mobile app is going to be really easy. Your web console is still vulnerable to good old bugs like XSS, SQLI, etc. The fun thing is that once you find out this box in this console, this works pretty much the same for every of the IoT users. Mobile application has number of vulnerabilities. This mobile application also has some serious vulnerabilities like hard coding the sensitive information like default credentials, API keys, sensitive URLs, and so much. To get all of these, you first have to get the APK and then reverse engineer. Getting an APK is not really a difficult task. You can get the APK from this official Play Store app or wherever they uploaded it. Also, mobile app is one of the, mobile app most of the times may be leaking personal and sensitive information from the users as well. Your IoT device these days collect a lot of information. The device, this information includes but are not limited to name, date of birth, address, credit card information, your location, etc., coordinates, etc. So check if the mobile application is actually spitting out this information or not. You might have the debugging mode enabled in the mobile app. You can look for that as well. Also, many times if a mobile app uses some sort of communication protocols like BLE, you can look what handles and what characteristic it is actually working on. So the next thing is radio, identifying the vulnerabilities in the radio signals. Now, since you already know a lot about hardware, software, and the firmware as well, now you have something really different. This is a little unusual. You'll encounter the protocols like BLE, ZigBee, etc. These are different from softwares. To do the testing with radio, you need to have a different tools with you, different sort of hardwares. Like suppose for the BLE, you need to have Ubuntu, but with ZigBee, you need to have CC235, 2235, and something like that. But what is common with all of these radios is that the process is same. So what you can do is you can sniff the communication to see what is happening inside. You can try to modify and perform the replay attack and try to perform the jammings and all sort of this. After capturing the communication, you can try to reverse engineer them. So identifying the issues in BLE. So this was one of the research that I had done a couple of months back. So this was one of the fitness tracker that I used to hack. So what is the problem with this BLE communication is that most of the BLE communications are in the plain text. So there is absolutely no encryption. The hardware manufacturers do not have the integrity check in the firmware. So I was even able to upload the firmware. So if you're interested in looking for this BLE hack, you can go to this link and then you can look how this BLE attack was launched. So if you want to sniff the BLE packets, you can use tools like Ubuntu, which is really expensive. It costs somewhere around $100. You can use this Ubuntu. But the Adafruit BLE sniffer is a little cheaper one. But the difference between the Ubuntu and the Adafruit BLE sniffer is that Ubuntu actually works for the faster BLE packets. And then if you don't want to spend any money on that, what you can do is you can use this Android SCA dump. So in your mobile application, you can just enable the debugging mode. And then there is something called enable SCA mode. So whatever communication that is happening between the mobile application and the BLE will be logged there. So you can use this Android SCA dump. It's not going to cost you any money. And then even you can use these GAT tools to rewrite these values on the handles. And then other thing is you can use two of these USB 4.0 BLE sniffers, BLE dongles to use the tools like GAT Tracker. It acts as a man in the middle for BLE. So what else you can do with the BLE? So in the BLE, so you can use one of these, the cheaper version of BLE dongles. You can use this to scan all of the devices in your vicinity. So the tool that you use is the SCA tool. You can use these SCA tools. And many times you'll find out you can directly use the GAT tracker to authenticate with the device. So many times a lot of devices that I have pen tested didn't even have authentication for outsider to connect to it. So you can use tools like BTLE Juice to even intercept the BLE packets. So what are the things that you should be looking here for? One of the few things that you should be looking here for is the replay possible or not? Whether you are able to make some sense into the data or not. The fitness tracker that I told earlier, I was able to even send any sort of message. I was able to upload any images. All those information, since it was happening in the plain text, is really easy for me to decode that. So you can even look for is the jamming possible or not. You can even yeah, it is possible to write the signals using GAT tools, all this information. And yeah, so you should look for the sensitive information being sent in the plain text. Like suppose one of the BLE log that I was doing was sending the pin of the BLE over the plain text. You can use, so you can sniff this package to find out the pins as well. So similarly with the ZigBee, since the ZigBee also works on the same frequency as BLE, so you can use these tools like CC2532 to sniff the packets. This is almost same as the BLE. So here also you would look for whether replay is possible or not, whether sniffing and MITM is possible or not, and all sort of these things. So now you might be looking for the software. What are the softwares that I need to use before starting the pen testing? So one of the tools that you need to use is if you want to do the disassembler. If you want to use the disassembler, you can use the tools like Ghidra, IDA, Binary Ninja. This Ghidra is actually a really nice tool for disassembling the firmwares and binaries. You can use other firmware reverse engineering toolkits like Beanwalk or any other extraction tools. You can use Starbulls and all these tools. And for fuzzing, you can use QEMU, OpenOCD, and FlashRAM. You can use this tool called Minicom to get the cell out of the UART, and protocol-specific tools like CAN utils. So if you're working with the CAN, you can use these tools like CAN utils. If you're looking for something in a packet inspection, you need to use tools like Wireshark. For HTTP proxy, you have your good old friend BobShoot. And with the Bluetooth, when I talk about Bluetooth, it has two: Bluetooth Classic and Bluetooth Low Energy. You can use tools like Blue Hydra, GATTacker, BTLE Zeus. These are the tools, software tools that you need to use to perform the man in the middle, as well as to write on the characteristics and handle. So on the radio frequencies, you can use tools like, again, Wireshark. Wireshark is a really nice tool if you wanted to capture the packets like CAN packets and BLE packets even. And you even have the GNU radio and SDRs. If you want to do something like software-defined radio hacking, you can use these SDR tools. And for mobile reverse engineering, you can use tools like APK tool and ZX. They're available on the internet. And the hardware pieces. So generally, for the general toolkits, you will need to use tools like screwdriver, multimeter, soldering iron, connectors, cables, wires. All these are the common tools that you need to use. And then if you wanted to perform something like something on JTAG, something on UART, you need to have those protocol-specific tools like USB to UART. You need to have something like flash dumper and all this hardware device. And for RF tools, if you wanted to perform the Bluetooth sniffing, you can use Ubertooth one. It's really expensive, but it's good. You can have the Nordic sniffers and other commercial sniffers that are available in the market, which are costly as well. And with the Zigbee as well, if you wanted to capture the Zigbee packets, you can use CC2531 sniffers. They are available in the Amazon or any other website for cheap rates, like less than $50. So if you wanted to get started with the IoT hacking, these are the further readings. You can follow 85. So 85 is one of the startups based in India. They do have a good research, a good amount of research on IoT hacking. And then there is a talk by Pentesting Hardware and IoT by Mark Canry. You can watch that talk as well. There are a lot of, you can take a picture of this, further readings and then get started with the IoT pen testing. So that's all for the talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience? No? Yeah, no? Then we'll go to the Slido.
Yeah, so the first question, can you describe a general process for dumping firmware of IoT device? What are some of the common issues faced when trying to do so? I think I've already covered about this one. So if you wanted to dump the firmware out of the IoT device, there are a lot of, so there are many steps. One of the steps is going to the vendor's website, using the Google Docs and finding the FTP index FTP sites, and then looking for the firmware. Other thing is using the those small clippers that I showed you earlier. You can use all those clippers and attach it. So you'll have to desolder the chips, which has 6 pins and 8 pins. If it is using those flash memories, you'll have to desolder that, and once you desolder that, you'll have to extract the firmware out of that. You can do that as well. You can reverse engineer the firmware, mobile application, and you can get the firmware there as well. What are some common issues faced when trying to do so? Some common issues is that some of these chipset which I told are really small, and you need to have a very good hands-on with the soldering and desoldering. So if you do not have good hands-on with the soldering and desoldering, like what I had beginning of my IoT pen testing was, you may not be able to desolder back. So you may not be able to solder back. So the device is pretty much gone. So what is the purpose of glitching? The purpose of and how it is done usually. With the glitching, what we generally do is we make the changes in the voltage. Sometimes we send the high amount of current. Sometimes we send the low amount of current. Change in the current, change the voltage, and then we try to see if the device crashes, if there is any information being displayed in the debug or not, and I'll this information. So, thank you.
Were there any more questions?
Any more
from
questions?
The audience? There is? No. Then I'd like to get a big applause for you guys.
Thank you.